joyous signs there from the West Indies players shaking hands and seems as if they are enjoying themselves there. Um, those are scenes from the West Indies, but we are here this morning for some part in the world, afternoon for others, and good night, good morning. But we are wonderfully grateful to you all from all over the world to be able to join us again for yet another look at West Indies cricket. We're looking at the test team that is just announced by Cricket West Indies for the upcoming two-match series against the visiting Bangladesh team that arrive on Monday, and they will be taking on the West Indies. The first game will be in Antigua. A warm-up game, two-day warm-up game will be there at the West Indies' own Coolidge Cricket Ground there in Antigua and Barbuda. And then after that, the West Indies will take on Antigua in will take on Bangladesh there at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium there in North Sound, Antigua. The coach for the two-day warm-up match will be the former Jamaican um, off-spin bowler Nikita Miller will be the head coach, and several upcoming coaches there in Antigua will be there to assist him. And that game will be captained by Captain Craig Brathwaite, with his vice captain is the informed Justin Greaves, who as well has been called up for the West Indies test team in the absence of Jason Holder. I have our panelists here with us as per usual. Cricket Hall of Famer John Melbourne. We also have Cricket Hall of Famer Dennis Eat and the Honorary Secretary of the Cricket Hall of Fame, Mr. Dale Brown. They are here to give us their thoughts over the next half an hour as it regards to this test team taking on Bangladesh in the upcoming two-match test series. It's the last um, test series at home for the West Indies in the World Test Championship. They will be closing out the World Test Championship this January in Pakistan in that two-match test series that will take place there in Pakistan come January. Um, Hall of Famer John Melbourne, thanks for being here today with us. Um, we'll be putting up our test team on camera in a few minutes, but um, when you look at this test team, no good Kishmoti this time around, but the returning Kevin Sinclair, who have been one of our top spinners in the region this season, missing out on the two-match test series against South Africa because of injury coming from England. His wrist was broken by a delivery from Mark Wood. But how pleased are you with the West Indies coaching staff that they have kept faith with this young man and bring him back yet again to prove his worth on this West Indies team? It is quite notable that he was sent home by the management of the Guyana cricket team back to Guyana, but West Indies have seen no fault with him and choose to bring him back for this important series against Bangladesh starting on the 24th.
Thank you so much, Junior. Thanks so much for inviting me once more to be a part of the West Indies Cricket Development Academy setup. And certainly a very good morning to our panelists. I saw the West Indies squad for the Bangladesh series. and found it sort of interesting that, yeah, as you mentioned, Gudakesh Moti was not included in the squad. But it's good to see Kevin Sinclair, I think, back in the squad after injury. I think it's an opportunity at home to give him another shot. He didn't do too badly when he was with the team before he got injured. So I think it's good to see him coming back into the squad to get another shot. What I do find interesting, though, and I guess it's something that I have spoken about on a few occasions, is that Craig Brathwaite has been named to captain the practice squad, so to speak. And here is one of my beefs with West Indies cricket. I suppose they are giving Craig Brathwaite an opportunity to be in the middle once more. He has not played any top-class cricket, so to speak, since the last Test series. And I am a firm believer that the three formats of the game that's being played now internationally, there should be a squad of players from which you select to play all three formats of the game. So, I find it interesting that, Brathwaite has been called to captain the practice squad. And again, I suppose they want to give him an opportunity to be in the middle, getting himself, I guess you want to call it, acclimatized to playing top-class cricket once more. And that's my take so far, Junior.
Yes, wonderful. Hall of Famer, Mr. E, please just run down on the test team that will be taking on Bangladesh in the upcoming two-match test series starting next week there in the Twin Island of Antigua and Barbuda. And your thoughts follow.
Yes, thank you, Junior. And thank you, and good afternoon, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the West Indies Cricket Development Cricket Academy TV program. I'm delighted to be here with you, and I send a warm greetings to my fellow panelists, John Melbourne, and of course, Brother Dale Brown. The team that has been published by the squad, I should say, consists of Craig Brathwaite, the captain, Joshua De Silva, the vice captain, Alec Athanase, Casey Carty, Justin Greaves, Kavem Hodge, Tevin Imlach, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Mikhail Louis, Anderson Phillip, Kemar Roach, Jaden Seals, Kevin Sinclair, and Jomel Warrican. Once again, we see a team that we have kind of seen in the past, where West Indies have used pretty much these players in series in recent past. I'm happy to see Warrican is back, and we have Anderson Phillip, both of whom have been selected and given the odd opportunity. In particular, Anderson Phillip, I think he's been an unlucky player in that although he's been selected before, I don't know that he's had much of a series in any shape or form. So it's good to see that he's there as a quick bowler to bring some competition to Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, and Jaden Seals. Welcome back, of course, to Kemar Roach as a favorite stalwart. I'm not sure that he will actually play in the test team this time round, coming off injuries, because I suspect strongly that with 5 already named quick bowlers in the side, we've got Shamar Joseph, we've got Alzari Joseph, Jaden Seals, there is Phillips, as I've been mentioned, and I'm somehow not certain that we're going to be seeing Kemar Roach back with the team this time round. And my team would be for this 11 would be Brathwaite, De Silva, Alec Athanase, Casey Carty, Kavem Hodge, Alzari Joseph, Shamar Joseph, Mikhail Louis, Jaden Seals, Kevin Sinclair, and Jomel Warrican. And I think that sounds like a pretty balanced team in my book. And I anticipate that this team should give Bangladesh a run for their money this time round as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how much the West Indies has improved since the last test series in England. I'm sorry that in my team selection, Kemar Roach has not been selected in my 11. And of course, I suspect strongly that, Darren Sammy will probably include him in the side. But I think that for management purposes and other reasons, I would certainly not be including Kemar Roach in this particular squad. Back to you, Junior.
Yeah, and I'm sure you meant to say Andre Coley, which is the
My apologies. Thank you.
right head coach of the test team until we hear further wise. Um, Hall of Famer Secretary Mr. Brown, Anderson Phillip. This is a wild card. We never see this coming, this pick into the test team, especially at this point in time. Are you surprised by Phillips making his way back, not not on the back of a first class season or any away season to England or any other parts of the world, but just simply being gifted a way back into this test team? How concerned are you?
Thank you, Mr. Codlin, and greetings to my fellow panelists. Greetings to the viewers and listeners. I'm happy to be here as always. Anderson Phillips, it's interesting that he made his test debut against Bangladesh in 2022, and he played his last test match against Australia in 2022. In those two games, he combined for 3 wickets. Not impressive, nothing to say, okay, you have given him a fair run. So with that in mind, I don't think he got a fair run in the team or even in the squad to tour as much. He was with the reserve squad, I believe, that went to England earlier this year. But so I'm not really surprised that he's there, to be honest with you, because he was part of that reserve squad in England. And he had only gotten 2 test matches to play in 2 test matches before and didn't do anything to really warrant leaving him out or keeping him in. It was a very middling, nondescript performance by him, I believe. So overall, I'm not surprised that he's there.
Absolutely. Thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Brown. Hall of Famer Melbourne, um, Justin Greaves' farm. It was said by in a release by Cricket West Indies that his recent farm in the Lissay Championship so far, 3 consecutive 100, would have propelled him once again with the absence of Jason Holder back into the test team, remembering that he had toured with the West Indies in January to Australia and had a reasonable outing out there. But with his performance at the top of the order, the struggle of the captain himself, Craig Brathwaite, should the West Indies ask Justin Grieve to open the batting in the first test match?
I don't think so, Junior. I I have to believe that the opening pair will be Craig Brathwaite and Mikhail Louis. and I see no reason why we would not open with Mikhail Louis and Craig Brathwaite anymore. I think Mikhail Louis, although he has not set the Super 50 ablaze with runs, I think you have to give him another shot as the test opener along with Craig Brathwaite. I think he deserves that shot. Justin Graves, yes, he has scored 3 consecutive centuries in the Super 50, and he's batting well. But they could very well be thinking of him maybe coming in from either Athanaze or Casey Carty. But I have never been successful in selecting a starting 11 for West Indies before a series, and I'm not even going to try to attempt to see what they would put on the field for this first test. But no, I don't think that Justin Graves should be at the top of the order opening with Craig Brathwaite. It probably will be Mikhail Louis.
Yeah. Hall of Famer Dennis C. When you look at when Nicholas Pooran stepped down as the captain and the chief selector at the time, Desmond Haynes, asked Shea Hope to step up to be the new ODI captain of the West Indies, he immediately placed himself down at the number 4 position, gave up the opening position that he was fairly successful in. Most of his runs came at opening the batting, but surely successful at number 4 as well. With the recent form of Craig Brathwaite, should he take a page out of Shea Hope's book, put himself down the order, allow Michaela Louis and Justin Greaves to open the batting for the West Indies, try something new in this test series that we already have no chance of reaching the World Test Championship final, but looking to prepare ourselves for the new championship that begins in 2025. Should Craig Brathwaite, in re-establishing himself as the West Indies test captain and for his own career's sake, move down the order in the West Indies team at this time, seeing that a trend is with Justin Greaves opening batting for any team that he plays for these days?
Well, one of the flaws that we see with Craig Brathwaite is lack of urgency when he goes to bat. And he sits on the bowling and he does not make a lot of effort to move or keep the scoreboard turning over. And so he's very slow in terms of his approach. And I think in this regard, putting himself down maybe at 3 or 4 might not be a bad idea, because that is where the problems usually arise with the West Indies, in that they lose Brathwaite early and suddenly the team is struggling with nobody to plug a gap. And I think in this regard, Brathwaite has that ability to come in and sit on the bowler and hold an end up to stop a rot that going through the side. So it is an excellent suggestion, and one that I would amply support, to have Brathwaite move further down the order and see, because we're trying to rebuild the test team. And so we would not be losing a great deal if he was to. This is test match after all. It's not ODI and it's not T20, which means he can still come in at number 4 and still have a lot of cricket to play. So excellent suggestion. And I think it's one that should be given serious consideration, not only by Craig Braithwaite, but by the coach, and of course, suggested to him maybe by other members of the team.
Yeah. Honor Secretary Mr. Brown, how much of a miss Holder will be in this test team taking on Bangladesh um, in this two-match test series? How much of a miss will he be? Is supporting, very supportive when he's in the field, chirping all the time, marshalling on the troops, even better than he when he was captain. The the word is that he is out because of shoulder rehab. So you know, West Indies losing their top all rounder in Test cricket. Do you think this is a chance for Bangladesh to take advantage?
Yes, I think that he will be missed more, believe it or not, for his batting. In the past year, meaning from January 1st of this year, 2024, only Joshua De Silva and Alec Athanase has scored more test runs than Jason Holder. They have both scored just over 300 runs, and he has scored 275 runs in two less matches than they have. Significantly, he's also the only batter who have played over two matches that has a batting average of over 30. Everybody else in that same time period, everybody else is in their 20s. And so we will miss him in that regard. We won't miss him for his bowling, except that he's a very economical bowler, but his bowling has really fallen away in the past 2 years, where his wickets cost him, for the past years, 60 runs per wicket. And for the past 2 years, it's almost 50 runs per wicket. So we're not going to really miss him in that regard, except for him eating up some overs. But his batting and his fielding, because he's overall a good slip catcher. And as you mentioned before, he's a very motivating type of person. You could hear him chirping all day long on the field. So I think, yes, we will miss him overall.
Absolutely. Hall of Famer Melbourne, we know Alec Athanaze is very close to you. Um, him being out of the ODI team, also out of the T20 team, sent back to the lycée level to go and work on his game. Had a few good games the other day. How important it is now for him to come against Bangladesh, re-establish himself, say to the selectors that he's still here.
I think one of the issues that West Indies selection committee need to get a grip on is who are the white ball cricketers and who are the red ball cricketers. And I think that's where they have having a difficulty. Maybe Alec Athanaze, is not a white ball cricketer. He's a red ball cricketer. And so I expect him to do quite well in the series against Bangladesh. He has, yes, as you mentioned, in the Super 50 that's in progress now, he has had a couple of good knocks. And so hopefully he is in good nick coming into the series against Bangladesh. But, we shall see. And I really do hope that he does well, and reestablish himself as a frontline batsman in this West Indies setup.
Yeah. Um, Mr. Eid Casey Carty coming off 100 the other day, taking on a Bangladesh team that is known here in the Caribbean to melt under pressure. How important it is for him now to continue the good form that he showed against England.
Thank you, Junior. Without a doubt, Casey Carty has blossomed very much in the last few tests, in the last few matches he's played, and I welcome his appearance in this test series because I'm looking for him to build on what he has started to, what he has planted and is now beginning to bring forth fruit. So I'm so delighted to see him back there, and I'm looking forward to him on his past experiences and good form. One thing before we move on, I do have a question at this time regarding the warm-up match squad. It's interesting to see that the squad has brought in a number of players who, for reasons or the other, have not been really showing much in their first teams. However, the question I have is, we brought a player like Johan Lane to England recently, and he did nothing. Kirk McKenzie, we have Blackwood, we have Campbell, Joel Andrews. These are players who we know have been used and are capable of playing in innings.
Yeah,
If
but maybe because of the ongoing Super 50, because
Thank you.
they did say that they are using players for the warm-up game that have not been selected by their territorial board for the ongoing, let's say, 50 over championship.
Mr. Cudley, yes, thank you. But this is where I disagree with West Indies. We are building for the future of Cricket West Indies. So which is more important to us? Is it the CPL or rather the national team or the local team? In this regard, we're trying to build the players. They need the experience. So when we have a touring team or teams or side coming in, these players should be released in order to participate for Cricket West Indies. And in that regard, players like Johan Lake, McKenzie, Blackwood, Campbell, Joel Andrews should make up the bulk of this select 11 for the warm-up squad. And the second comment I have on this, why are you having a warm-up match of 2 days? That makes absolutely no sense because team 1 will go in and bat for the 1 day, team 2 will go in and bat for 2 days. All warm-up matches should have a minimum of 3, but I would prefer a maximum of 4 days where you can get a decent match. You can get players to build on trying to show us what they can do instead of a 1 day batting exercise where they go out and they are in a hurry. They're not really temperamentally there. And before you know it, they're out after 5 overs. And that's the end of their opportunity. So whoever's putting these things together, they must make them at least a 4-day event and give, as much. I know you probably don't want your visitors to have a lot of exercise going into the match, but you're also building for your own team and you're looking to bring these players into the main team later on. So give them the opportunity in your team selection. And I'd strongly urge Cricket West Indies to think again about this format of a 2-day warm-up match. This is absolute nonsense, in my opinion, and a failure and a waste of time. Back to you, June.
Absolutely. Thank you for your thoughts there, Hall of Famer Dennis Eat, one that West Indies should look deeply into. Um, that's it for our test team that is released yesterday in taking on Bangladesh in the 2-match test series First match is in Antigua and Barbuda at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. The second one will be in Kingston, Jamaica at Sabina Park for the first time in years. Bangladesh will be coming back to Jamaica to finish off the test series. Other games will be held in St. Kitts, the 3 ODI, and also the 3 T20s will be held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at the newly refurbished Arnisvale Cricket Ground there. We'll be back in a minute time to preview the fourth T20 international between West Indies and England. That is at the Darren Sammy Cricket Ground in St. Lucia. And we hope you will be with us. We'll be back on in a minute time. So from all of us here at West Indies Cricket